Hey Jens, how are you doing today? Happy Sunday. It's Sunday, November 7th. We're already 1 week into November. It's crazy to believe that, but at the same time, not crazy at all. But, anyways, it is Sunday, November 7th, and I'm here for another weekly update. And it's a cold one here today. It's sunny but chilly. And here in New Jersey, I think it's going to warm up again, though. So it's the roller coaster weather of November. Where did fall go? We didn't really have a fall. Anyways, I hope you're all doing well. I am Gerald, Ginger Gerald Stitcher. You can find me, of course, here if you found me here. This is a channel all about crafting, typically cross stitch, but a little bit of knitting and gardening thrown in for good measure. If that is what you're here for, I hope you are. And if you like what you see, I hope you hit that subscribe button, the like button or thumbs up button that YouTube has, and you stick around for more updates as I throw out more content. We're getting close to Flossmas, which I'll be doing a daily video as I typically do. So I'm getting some ideas, and if you have any ideas that you'd like to see, of course, I'd love to hear from you as far as what you'd like to see of Flossmas videos this year. Flossmas is those daily vlog type updates that cross stitchers do for the month of December. If you're new to this these channels. So anyways, I'm just throwing, I'm all over the place today. I'm kind of hyper and ready to go. So it is about 11 o'clock here Sunday morning. We turned our clocks back last night. I had that extra hour of sleep, which I was planning on getting up and doing some stuff around the house, but I ended up sleeping in, and it was really nice. And I slept in, and it was still time to get up and get my day started on a regular time, which was wonderful. So I didn't feel like I slept the day away. Anyways, a little bit of update. I did not pull the names for the giveaway from last week's video, so you have one more week to enter your if you're interested in the giveaway from the last video. So if you're interested, go check that out on last week's video, and I will pull that next week. So one more week for that, and next week's video I will pull that and probably have another giveaway for next week. And what else was I going to say? I still have dishcloths available in my Etsy store if you're interested. Ginger Gerald Designs is my Etsy store. You can find all that information below, as well as any of my cross-stitch designs that are for sale. And of course, Christmas is coming, and I have those Christmas design gas lamp patterns if you're interested in those. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I have a busy day today. I have a gym class that I'm doing with a personal trainer at 12 o'clock. I think they're going to try to sell me gym classes, but it's free, so I'm going to take advantage of it. So I want to make sure I get this filmed and edited before I get to the gym class at 12. So I have a little under an hour to get this all done. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with my plant update of the week. I did film a little bit about this right here, so I will throw that in a minute. But first, I want to show you a plant that I thought was dead. But it's not dead, because it definitely threw out a new plant. This is my Alocasia Black Velvet that I bought over the summer, actually around Mother's Day this past year. I was down visiting my mom, and we went to Big Bloomers in North Carolina, and I bought this black velvet. It had 2 leaves, and they both died off. I put it, I think the problem was it was getting too much sunlight. I had it right in the window, so I decided to move it over away from, on the other side of the room, away from the window, and look what happened. So sometimes if you just move the plant away to a different area, they will react differently. So this is looking amazing. I'm really hoping that because I did this, it will push out another new leaf here soon. Of course, now we're going into the off-growing season, so I might only be stuck with this one for a while. But it looks amazing. Look at that leaf. So this is a black velvet. They actually get much bigger than this, and they're called black velvet because the tops of the leaves kind of feel like velvet. And they have a darker color leaf to it. This is the bottom of the leaf. So I really like it. It is a little leggy because I think it's reaching for the light, but I don't want to put it any closer to the light because then I'm worried that it's going to die off again. So there we go. This is my Alocasia black velvet. So now I'm going to go ahead and put in the update on my new cactus shelf right here. So if you're following me on Instagram, you saw this posted already, but as you can see, I have my stand here that I have rigged up with lights that I made for my cacti. But real quick, I got real close, but I didn't want to get real close real quick. You can see this is the corner of my dining room where I have all of my plants. You can see my desk here. And behind my desk where I sit to film, I have this little corner which does not get a whole lot of light, but I wanted to be able to put plants for the winter. And because I had to bring in a whole bunch of plants, which I'm still not done organizing, from outside. So I found this stand at HomeSense, and I thought it would be perfect to put plants on, specifically my cacti and succulents. And I wanted to find, but you know, cacti and succulents need a lot of light. So I wanted to find some grow lights, or you know, in strips that I could put on the stand that would work well to light up the stand, you know, in a stylish way instead of just ugly grow lights all over the dining room, to make it work for the stand. So what I did, and I rigged it up in my own way, so it's not perfect by any means, but I found these under cabinet LED lights because for, you know, a secret that people don't really know, by all the research that I found, grow lights are just glorified LED lights that, you know, are sold as grow lights to get you to spend more money. So what I did was just buy LED lights that go under cabinets that have adhesive on the back so that I can stick it to the furniture. So that way then it's not, you know, it doesn't, there's no burn risk or fire risk or anything like that. And then that way I can mold it to the shape of the furniture that I needed it to be. And that way then I can also have it go on different levels of the cabinet. So by no means does it look pretty if you get up close, but from a distance it looks pretty cool. So as you can see, if you look on the back, so I kept all the ugliness to the back side because as you wrap it's all one strip of lights that have different adapters, but as you wrap around, I had to come off to the side to make it work, to make it go to the different sides. So it starts up here on top, and then it goes around. So wait a minute, it might start over, where does it start? It starts here on this side, and then it goes up and around, and then it comes down, and then it goes under, and then it comes down, and it comes under, and then it goes down, and then it goes under, and then it ends here. And then I have it plugged into a smart switch, so it's on a timer. So that way it comes on at a certain time of day and it goes off at a certain time of day, so I don't have to worry about turning them on and off. And which is great for me, so that they're always on for a certain amount of time during the day, which I have them on, I think, for 12 hours a day, because cacti and succulents need a lot of light, and they're energy efficient. So I don't have all of my cacti and succulents over here, but I have a good bit. I'm not sure if this is going to be the arrangement how I want them to be, because this feels a little clogged, whereas I think if I move these down to a lower one, they might not feel so tight. But then I also put over here light plants that need a little bit of light, so they're going to get that radiating light, but not a whole lot of light. That should do well for the winter. So I have my Monstera deliciosa, as well as my Syngoniums with my Alocasia Regal Shield. So here are my Syngoniums that I have in the bottom here, which I really, really like this setup. They got a little bit of sunburn. This is the one that I talked about last week that got a little bit of sunburn, so I moved it over here. This one likes to be in the way though, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. But there we go. So that is my setup here in the corner. And then I have, of course, above it is my Vienberg Autumn Quaker sampler. And I think it's really cool looking. So that is my update for gardening for the week. Let's get to some cross stitch. And of course, I mentioned about posting those pictures on Instagram. If you follow me on if you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, my Instagram tag is at ginger.gerald.stitcher, ginger.gerald.stitcher. You can follow me there. I post a lot. Lately, I've been posting a lot of plants because my plants are really kind of coming to life right now. The end of summer, the type of plants I have just don't really do a lot during the end of summer. But now that fall, winter is among us, my plants are kind of thriving. Not kind of, they are thriving. So my Thanksgiving cacti, cousin to the Christmas cacti, are budding and blooming. My white Thanksgiving cactus is full of blooms and buds at the moment. My red one, my big red one that hasn't bloomed in 3 years, is full of blooms, buds. They're all B words, buds. That is going to be blooming soon, and whenever it does, I will definitely be posting a picture of that. So right now, my Instagram is going hog wild with plants, but I occasionally throw pictures of cross stitch and knitting on there as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into some well, actually, I have a little bit of knitting first. So first off, I want to show you a finish on my knitting. So my knitting finish is my Sesha scarf. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Sessa. Sisha or Shisha or Sesha. My Shisha scarf. This is using the, and it's not in this. Oh, okay, that's just fuzz. Okay. This is my J&J Craft Co. Steelers bag that she sent me for free as a gift whenever I bought something else from her. But this is using Knit Picks palette. It's not the lichen though. That's another one that I'm using. I think this is Brass Heather. And here is the finished scarf. Now it's not blocked yet because I'm waiting until I have another one blocked or another scarf done, and then I'm going to block them together. So there is the finished design. And it's just a very simple, almost like a block eyelet pattern. I really, really like it. I made it a little bit more on the shorter side, so it's more of a, office decorative scarf. I think it will block out a little bit longer. Actually, it matches this shirt very well. So, you know, you could wear it if you're next cold in the office, or, you know, right, it's not too bulky under your jacket if you want to wear it for fall or spring. But I think it's pretty cool looking. I wasn't sure about this pattern at first, but the more I was knitting on it, I really, really like it. So, and I think using the palette is a nice, it's a lightweight fingering. And it worked up really, really nicely. So there we go. That is the that is the Sesha scarf. Then, because I finished that one, because I'm still in a very knitting kind of craze-ish mood, I decided to start a new scarf. And so this one I also found free on, I believe it was Knit Picks, and it's called the Baby's Feather and Fan Scarf. I don't know why it's called maybe you do it for a baby. I don't know. I'm not doing it for a baby. But it's Baby's Feather and Fan Scarf by Denise Jackson Holder of Two of a Kind Designs. Okay, so it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I am again using stash yarn that I've had for quite a while, Knit Picks palette. And this time I'm using 2 strands because it calls for a worsted weight yarn. So it calls for a worsted weight yarn, so I'm using 2 strands of the palette held together, and I'm using 2 different colors held together, so it gives it a tweed look. And so I'm using lichen and pumice heather, so it's a green and like an avocado green and a charcoal gray. And so here are the 2 colors that I'm using. So lichen and pumice heather. And I dropped the ball. And because I am, you know, going hog wild on knitting lately, and this is such a simple, easy knit, and I think this one's going to be one of those patterns that blocks out and makes it a lot nicer whenever, it still looks great, but I think it's going to look even nicer once it's blocked out. Here is, strings everywhere. Here's what it looks like so far. I kind of get the feeling, let me just show it to you again. So here's the bottom. I have it probably about half done for where I want it to be. This one I'm going to do a little bit longer because it's more of a heavier, like wintry scarf. This one reminds me, whenever I first started knitting on it, it reminded me of the Chrysler Building in New York City. And I love that because I love the Chrysler Building is one of my absolute favorite skyscrapers. So it hooked me on this one. So it has the eyelet pattern, but then of course because of the shape on it, and you can see it has this what is this called? Like a, see, it needs to be blocked out, but it has the, oh my gosh, the word's evading me. I want to say shallot, but it's not shallot. Scalloped. It has a scalloped edge. It has a shallot edge. No, it has a scalloped edge, which then creates this textured, wavy shape to it. And I think that's just really cool looking. And it's so simple to knit. And the pattern is very easy to memorize. And so I just knit it while I'm watching TV or, you know, streaming or YouTube or FlossTube or whatever. So there we go. So again, like I said, I'm holding the two strands together to give it this very, you know, colorful yet interesting look to it. And I'm using up yarn that I have in my stash that I've been trying to get rid of for a very long time. So I love that. So I believe it will be done once these two balls are done. And that will be 2 more balls of yarn out of my stash, which is wonderful. So that is the baby's feather and fan scarf. All right, now we can get into some cross stitch. And I, again, have been all over the place as far as stitching on cross stitch. So the very first thing I worked on this week, well, I guess not too well, yeah, a little bit kind of all over the place. First thing I worked on was my tapestry, medieval tapestry by Cross Stitch Row. You can find it on Etsy. And I actually took it out of the Q-snap because I got to a point where I was kind of happy with it and I needed to move on. And if I didn't take it out of the Q-snap, I was going to keep working on it and working on it and working on it. And while that's great, that didn't help with the other plans and progress that I wanted to make on other pieces. So I took it out of the Q-snap, I ironed it up, and here is the progress so far. So I have completed, I think last time you saw it, I had completed all the way down to, the bottom already, but then I went ahead and finished that first page on the bottom, so that first bottom page is done. And then I came up and I wanted to start finishing page 1. I don't quite have page 1 complete yet. But page 1 is almost done. The man is done, which is exciting. And I did start to go on to page 2 only because I wanted to finish the man. So there is him so far. And I'm really liking how he's turning out. So again, he is stitched on a 40 count cobblestone. 40 count cobblestone linen by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. And he stitched 1/2 using DMC 400. So DMC 400, 1/2 on the cobblestone linen. And here is the full picture of what the cobblestone linen looks like. And I'm thinking the piece is going to go to about maybe here. I don't know. I could be wrong. It's a fairly long piece, but skinny. Short. So that is, how do I have this folded? There we go. Again, that's what it'll look like when it's completely done. So I am about up to here. Not very much done. Then I decided to pull out my friend, who knows that I'm stitching this project for him, keeps pressuring me to work on this piece. And I keep thinking about it. But then I'm like, ugh. So I decided to go ahead and pull out Britain in Stitches, The British Isles by Heritage Crafts. This is a massively large piece that I'm stitching on a full yard of 28 count ale by Picture This Plus. I don't need a full yard of ale, but till it's all said and done, I want to make sure I have plenty of space for border. I want it to be a nice, big, large piece of finish. So here's where I'm at so far. So this is on 28 count ale, stitched 2 over 2, and then of course you have all of the it's a lot of you know, what's that called? Backstitch. So what I did this time was I had up to Kingston done. So I went ahead and put Upon Hall, North Sea. I had to put York in. I did all of this backstitch up in here. So I did this, I did the backstitch up and through here. That took about 4 hours. This is only page 1 of this is only 1 page of 12. And I'm not even close to finishing this page. So this is going to be a long-term project. I really need to focus on this, but it takes a lot. So I'm just going to keep plugging away at it. I'm trying to focus on getting all of the place names done on this, and then I have to go back through and put the rivers and the mountains and the monuments. There's castles and chapels and all those kind of things in. That's going to take a little bit more time because that has color changes and stuff. But right now I'm just trying to work on the 310 place names. So yeah, this is Britain in Stitches by Heritage Crafts, The British Isles. And you can see how much fabric is on the back. That's why I'm using these like things just to help keep it in place, because it's a lot of fabric. So while I was working on that, I decided to pull out La Foresta de Fons. This is my Renato Perlin. And I decided to work on this. This is on 56 count. 56 count. I think it's called, is that a hair? I think that's one of my hairs. Oh well. 56 count Mandarin from XJU Designs. XJU Designs on Etsy. And I'm stitching this 56 count 1 over 2 using DMC 938. Oh, that's not good. Let me see if I can find a different. Is that better? Yeah, that's a little bit better. You cannot. So I'm working on this tree here, and I've been working on this tree for the last few days. It's a big tree. Has lots of stitches in it. So since I pulled this out, I've been working on this tree. I think I started working on this tree when I started watching Squid Game. And then I've been just slowly plugging away at this tree. The majority of this tree I worked on, I stitched yesterday, so Saturday. And this tree is about halfway done. This tree goes up to like here. But of course it slowly gets a little bit skinnier, kind of like this tree, as it gets up taller. But it gets a little bit denser. So it's not like all that many less stitches as it gets skinnier. So again, 56 count, 1/2, using DMC 938, so it's a brown, and this is on a mandarin. It's like a light orangey yellow, like a citrusy yellow linen. So 56 count linen. I love this. I love this color, and I love the contrast of the brown and the yellow. And it's one strand of floss over the 2 strands of linen fabric. And it's going really well. This tree's taken a lot of time. I'm just slowly, working my way up. And then, I'll slowly work. I think the end of the piece will be somewhere right here. So I'm just going to continue working until I get to the left side of the project. I started in the middle, and then I'll work my way to the other side. 56 count. La Foresta de Fons. Okie dokie. And the last thing I did everything's falling down. Last thing I did was a new start. So one evening, it might have been Thursday, I just wasn't feeling like any of the projects that I was currently working on. And so I was looking through all of the stuff that I have currently going, and I wasn't feeling any of that. And I had remembered that I was doing, at the beginning of the year, or towards the beginning of the year, I was working on some stuff in hand. So some of these smalls that I have not done anything with yet, but if you've been with me long enough, I had stitched these smalls back at the beginning of the year, and I think both of these were from one of Jacob's from Modern Folk Embroideries designs. And then this is from one of Linens, and I believe it's Linens and Threads. This is a pattern. This is a piece from a larger sampler that I put, instead of the year, I put my initials on it, HGP. And so I decided I had one more piece of that blue. This is blue 39 count Mirren linen from XJU Designs. So I decided to go ahead. I had one more small piece of fabric. So I decided to go ahead. I wanted to put one of the crowns from Crowns of the Kingdom on it. So I am putting the Edward. Is this Edward the Confessor's crown right here? Where's it at? Right here. This one right here. Just the crown. So that right there. And I'm doing all one color, and the color is Dried Leaves by XJU Designs. You can find her on Etsy. It's the same color that I've done for all of these other ones, so that everything will match. And so here is my progress so far. Just stitching in hand. It's one strand over 2 on the 39 count Mirren linen. Again, Mirren linen is 39 count, I believe. And that's my progress. So that's maybe 3 hours. I think I was watching The Lost Symbol on Peacock. I love Dan Brown novels, and so I've been slowly picking my way through the Dan Brown novels, or the Lost Symbol episodes. And so I watch. I've been stitching the Edward the Confessor. I believe that's Edward the Confessor's crown. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. And I know that that crown in the original pattern has 3 different shades of colors, but I'm just doing it all in one color. I think it looks pretty nice. I might add the year or something up here around the cross. I'm not sure, but just to add a little bit more oomph, or I might leave it alone and just make it a small ornament or crown that way. And I have no idea how I'm going to finish those, but I have a piece of yellow crushed velvet backing that I think is going to look really nice to finish those with. So that is where I'm at with that. And that is all the things that I've been working on this week, which is kind of all over the place for me. So, my plans for the coming week, I could say I have plans, but then I probably won't do them because I had said that I was going to continue working on my red panda, and you can see I've not touched that since. So, yeah. I really don't know what I'm going to continue working on. Who knows what my plans are going to be or what I'm going to continue, what I'm going to work on. I'm just kind of going with the flow and seeing what calls to me and seeing how much time I have and seeing how the wind blows me, because I don't know. I'm also really starting to think ahead for 2022, which is not something I typically do, but I'm starting to think about how I want to organize my thoughts for the coming year, or even if for Flossmas or for December, because there's some pieces that I have not hardly touched this year. That was a very poorly worded sentence. And I know I did not do very well in English class as a child, but that was not a good sentence. There have been some projects that I barely touched this year, and I definitely want to change that for the coming year. And I'm not sure if I want to wait until 2022 and make that a focus, or if I want to start that sooner than later. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, because I might become uber monogamous, or I'm not sure yet. But I'm laying the groundwork for my thoughts so that I can be prepared for how I want to focus on getting some major finishes in the coming year. But when I have that figured out, I will let you know. And until then, I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful time doing whatever it is that you find enjoyment. If that is crafting, cross stitch, knitting, diamond painting, gardening, cooking, or whatever it is that you find exercise brings you joy. So until I see you again, as always, don't forget to always be creative.